Alright, so this is dried now. Well, close enough. I mean, I'm pretty sure it's going to still be wet. Sorry this video kind of seems a little hapdashly put together. I've been up since like 2 this morning and I've had a ton of coffee. So what we're going to do is I'm going to just use a regular paper plate. Well, this is not paper. It's the plastic kind. As you can see, it's kind of well used. And what we're going to do is we're going to use the black watercolor. And let's see here. I'm going to have about this much paint on there. As you can see, the shine on top of the old one. And I'm going to use a flat hard bristle brush. And I want to use a hard bristle brush because it's going to help tear up the matches. It's going to give it a little bit more texture to the match and kind of pry up some of that grain and make it look old. Can't really see on here. Well, here you can see it kind of tore up there. So we'll just use this hard bristle. It's going to absorb a lot of this paint. We're going to put on a lot of water. Otherwise it's kind of hard to paint with this. And you just paint it on. You don't have to be very consistent with this because you don't want it all to look exactly the same. You want different spots to be a little bit more worn than the rest. The great thing about this is it's watercolor. So now we can just take the water, smear it around a little bit more to get everything covered in some black. You don't have to worry about the edges too much over here unless they're going to be showing. I typically don't show mine. Get them down in these corners, in the recesses. You want to kind of roughly push it in there, and the water's going to help, but this hard bristle is going to tear up that wood. That's why we use a lot of water. It helps this process. Now that I got it on there, you can just take a paper towel, press on there, kind of rub it off. Helps dry the paint a little bit quicker. Gives it a nice kind of aged look. And then we're going to, where's it at? Use this gray acrylic. It's not really a dark one. It's pretty light. And this is a very old paint. It's probably like 4 years old or so. Probably a little bit older than that. And it's pretty much out. So this will probably be the only thing I can show with the gray paint. I'm going to water this down as well. And it doesn't matter if there's still some black on it or not. I'm going to go back and add some gray to it. Because if you look at old wood, it's not going to be brown. It's going to have if it's been out in the weather a lot, I found that it's going to be more of a grayish kind of color with some black in there. Now that that's on there, we're going to take a little bit more black on my palette. While this is still wet, I don't really wait until a layer is dry. I'm gonna I mix everything on the wood while it's still wet, and then just try and get it to look proper. So this is a fine tip soft brush. And then you can just go back over it, dab a little bit on there, and then use the water Kind of mix it around, and now you're really able to get those the recesses in there. And then again, go back in with the paper towel. Smear it back away. Some pieces are going to be lighter than the rest, and that's alright. And then this is the part where you would go back and add characteristics into certain spots, like you pick up some black, and where this has a little bit of a crack, you can go back in, darken it, make this male slot a bit darker in there. This board here is a little bit too light, so I'll go back over those, darken those up. Then I'm going to let this dry. Okay, so I've given this some time to dry. And I'm going to use some yellow. You can use any color you want. It'll still work out. But this house has a yellow and white door. No, I think it's a yellow and brown door. And then the rest of the house is painted white. But I changed the plans on that to match what I wanted. So now I'm going to go back to using the hard brush. I'm going to take and just lightly add some water to the paint. I'm going to go in and add it on there in various spots. What this is going to do is, because it's watered down, it's going to give it kind of an easier transition into when we make it look like the paint's been faded and worn off. So now that we've done that, put a little bit more yellow on our palette, and this time we're not going to water it down. We're going to go back to using the soft brush. You're going to want to make sure it's got all that black cleaned off now. We'll take and we'll choose spots. Make this a little bit more in the center. Each one's going to be a little bit different and have different worn spots than the rest. Just kind of change it up and give it some variety. That looks pretty good. Don't worry about it being too bright. We'll go back in and fix it later. Dull it down. Then I'm going to go back in with some white. paint up the rest of this door. If I can get this tube open. There we go. Do the same thing, going in, water down the white with your hard brush. I may have got this too watered down. Oh well, it'll be fine. And keep in mind that the bottom of the door is going to be more worn than the top due to weathering. So it's going to have less paint on it. Kind of smear this down. Try not to get it on the corner pieces there. And then you just go back in and do the same thing. Add a little bit more white over there. Don't water this one down. And again, just hot spot. Pick some nice spots on here to paint. Kind of look like they were already brighter when you painted through that first time. I try and keep the top left really nice and painted, and then the bottom right heavily degraded. As you can see over here, that black's really showing through and leaving that crack there. Alright. Now that we've done that, go back to our hard brush, put some water on it, no paint. You don't want too much water on it, kind of clean up. Just go in there, run over it. That'll take some of that paint off and run it. And then you can go in with a lot of water. Heavily take it off. Use a paper towel if you need to. Try and absorb some of that water so it's not soaking it up too much. And then once you got it to where you like it, you can keep going back over and doing these steps back over again to get it to where you think the door looks good. In the way you like it. Or you can take some of these steps out. Go back in and dry brush some of this. Lightly put it over areas, and it'll show some of that grain. Go back in. I took a lot of this white off, and I want it to be noticeable that the door used to be white. Where I washed it off heavily, you can see where it reverts back to that grayish black we let the wood soak up earlier. And then if the colors are too bright for you, you go back in here with some of this black, water it down a little bit more. You can go back in, and because some of this acrylic is on there, the black will absorb into the wood next to the acrylic where it hasn't been painted over. In some cases, depending on how much acrylic you've used. And again, if you don't like it, just keep going back and adding to it and changing it. You don't want to put something on the house that you don't like. So, there you go. That's how you can paint it up. And then, once you got that done, you can go in and take in a black acrylic, if you like, and go down through the gaps in the wood here, make them a little bit darker. Excuse me. So, and then once this is dried, it'll look a lot better. It'll be a little bit more like this, a little bit duller, because this still has a lot of sheen and a lot of dark blacks on it. But when it dries, the wood's going to absorb the watercolor, and it's going to turn a little bit grayer and not be as prominent.